All right, Stairway to Heaven. I'm going to put mostly this. It's the studio version, and then toward the end, if you want to go to the end, I'll put a couple of the live fills he puts in, which are really nice. Anyway, studio version. Drums come in about 4-ish, I think 4 and 15 seconds. And I think when he comes in, the fill he does, I think even though he has 2 floor toms, I think he just goes. Okay, flam on the snare, 1 rack tom hit, 1 floor tom hit, a bass drum hit, then bass drum with crash. Okay, it's possible like, for the diehards he might go another floor tom, but to me, if I listen, it sounds like he's hitting the bass drum before. Quick geekiness there. Okay, by the way, this recording, at least the crashes are giant beat Vil. If you listen to the cymbals in the song, it's giant beats all the way. Drums come in, and the whole feel for this whole part until the middle, and by the middle I mean ba-da-da, 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 you know, is essentially just like. Okay? So if you listen, I mean, it's pretty self-explanatory, but there's things he does in there. It's kind of like just. He puts a couple little bass drums in, a couple of little 16th acts. Some of them are slightly buzzed. Okay? And then he does go to the ride cymbal. The only time he really goes to the ride cymbal in the song comes up in that one part. In there, he's essentially playing the same groove on the bass and the snare, but he's on the ride cymbal. And there's an interesting thing which is really pretty. When he first comes in, he just accents he plays the ride cymbal a little louder there for a minute, which is kind of nice. I don't know if it was just an accident or whatever, but again, it just fits the tune. Like it's a nice little. It kind of propels it there. If you go back and listen, it's about 5 minutes maybe, you'll hear. By the way, in there I just put those don't occur in the song. That was just brainless of me. He doesn't do the full turnaround in the song. He does like a half one. Instead of. Anyway, so he comes in, and then toward the tail end of that ride cymbal part, I think when he comes out of that, he comes out of the ride part with the. And I hear. Sorry, the microphone's kind of, as everybody knows, a little crappy. So I hear some rim shot. He does rim shots a lot. 1 key to bottom, 2. He does a lot of rim shots, almost all the time on the snare. So. Again, this isn't my Superphonic. It's a steel shell Yamaha, so it's not going to sound as nice as the. My Superphonic's buried in there, and I just don't feel like going in and getting it. Anyway, all right, so. Back to that. If you want to practice, I mean, it's not. If you want to practice that, just imagine, you know. And the bass drum pattern really kind of follows that. You have like. It's kind of that pattern. Generally, but he plays with it. So anyway, so as we come in toward the break, all the crashes isn't there yet. That's another thing he does too. He throws in, I think, at least 3 or 4 times. Okay, throws a couple of those, and 1 and a 2 and a 3 and. Okay, they're kind of like a. And they're pretty much, if I remember, they're all the same thing every time. 3 and a 4 and a 1 and a 2 and a 3. 1 and a 2 and a 3. Okay? Okay. Ba-da-ba-da boom. Ba. Boom, boom, ba. Right? Alright, so then we get to the middle. The middle is kind of cool. What is interesting about the middle, which is so Led Zeppelin, is if you listen to kind of how out of sync the drums are to the guitars. Da-da-da, 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 da-da-da. I mean, that just goes to show you real musicians playing. Now, technically speaking, I think if I were Jimmy Page in the studio at that point, obviously they didn't know they were recording an anthem at the time. I probably would have, maybe try to make the drums and the guitars a little cleaner lined up. But, that's neither here nor there. So anyway, I think Bonham's doing it all on the bass drum. Blah, 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 blah. Two things there. One, we'll deal with the fill real fast. Now, what I said on the beginning when I said he went with just the ragtime on the one floor under the bass drum and the bass drum crash, this time I think he's going all floors, okay? So, on that fill, ba 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 ba. I think he goes other floor. Okay. Snare, red, floor tom 1, floor tom 2, down. Okay. That's what I think's going on. Okay. And again, like the timing of the middle, it's in a time signature, but it's like so you have it's not in strict time. And not only is it not in strict time because the real musician's playing, but it's actually written. I'm not exactly sure what you'd call the time signature, but it's like, so try it like this: 3, 4, ba ba ba, ba ba ba, ba ba ba, ba ba ba, and then right there, it's sort of when he plays that part, it sort of shifts a little. Ba 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 ba, and he doesn't. You'd think that would come right in. Ba 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 ba, but it doesn't. There's like a delay. Ba then. Okay. Again, I think the best thing with the middle two is just listen to it a bunch of times. I know that it's a super beautiful part. I think the guitar there in the middle, that 12 string, is beautiful. So then we come into the song, right? Into the solo, okay? Again, missing my other floor tom. And then from now on, though, he's not on the ride like he is live or you think he would. He's on the hi-hat still. say the bottom turnaround in other videos. It's just something it's like a misnomer, but you know where bottom goes. One of Bonham's favorite things to do on the drums is in this song, in Stairway to Heaven, it's sort of like half that. But without the bass drum, without the last snare drum note. So you come into the solo. Okay? Boom ba boom ba boom ba boom boom ba. Okay? Ba-da. Actually, you know what? I keep hitting that crash, but there's a surprising amount of lack of crashes in this part of the song. So now here, this is where that same beat from before is sort of like it's sort of plotty, it's sort of chunky. That's kind of, so it's all 8 notes on the hat, but occasionally you're doing like 16, like I'm not going, but those little accents you hear are light grace notes on the snare, which makes it sound like he's hitting extra stuff on the hi-hat, kind of like Fool in the Rain. So hear that? Cruising through there, coming up to the big fill. So essentially in there, he's doing that. And he does a neat thing toward before the where he goes. And leaves a big space into the downbeat. That's the other thing too Bonham used to do. Sometimes instead of just where you think it'd be like 1 and a 2 and a 3 and 4 and a 6, he'd wait for the actual downbeat. Master of it. So now we're coming into the Jimmy Page. You know what I mean? Cranking out the solo, wonderful solo. Bonham goes on the drums, and there's a bunch of guys that put videos out there. Most of them I think are correct. Some guys always want to add more bass drum notes, like what Bonham is actually playing there, because he plays the exact same fill in, I think, Night Flight. Yes. In the morning, he goes. Slow it down. So he's going, okay, he does that 4 times. Okay? Except the last time, you know how you go, so just practice that. You can sit and just practice that fill. It's just essentially this. That's it. Now, I have to think how technically it's almost like one of the rudiments, like it's like a fast version of like a 3/2, like ba 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 ba. So, 4 of those in a row. 4. Okay, but the thing is, the last of the 4 of those, hold the bass drum note off and move it a little bit, because then it becomes the first of this. It goes, here's the, so the first half is this. Okay? But then the second half is. Okay? Practice that one slow. Well, I mean, if you can't do it. Now the key there's in that fill though, is so you have the 4 groups, you have these. The last one of those, you're not going to play the bass drum with it. That last bass drum note gets moved slightly as the beginning note of the second part. So, okay, slightly, okay? So you have, that's 3. And then there's one more of these without the bass drum note. Okay, whoops, sorry. Okay, so the two parts is, okay, second part is, first part, 4 times, except the last bass drum note of the 4th one you're going to hold, because it becomes the beginning bass drum note of the first note of the second part. Okay, so Bonham plays the exact same fill in Night Flight, because I think, from what I've read, they recorded a lot of stuff that ended up on Houses of the Holy and Physical Graffiti was recorded for the 4th record, like Night Flight, No Quarter, Down by the Seaside. In fact, when I listened to the drums on Down by the Seaside, and No Quarter, and God, I think Night Flight, it almost sounds like the drums are recorded from like the same session, like the exact same sounding drums. I think they EQ the snare a little bit different for Night Flight. Anyway, that's my take. But you'll go into Night Flight. He plays it slower there. Okay? And I don't know if he hits a crash at the end of it. Anyway, it's the exact same fill. It's an illusion. I know a lot of people are going to put comments, dude, you're playing it wrong, you're missing a bass drum note. It's not. He's not doing another bass drum note in there. He's not, if you listen. Don't. And I think he puts maybe there might be a, let's see how I just did that with the snare. I think that's there. Okay, there's the fill. And then we go into the, still on the hi-hat. Okay, he goes in there, he goes. I think in the live version he goes. If I recall, in the studio version, he goes. You know what? Another thing too, I don't know if he even hits a cymbal downbeat there. I think he does. Anyways, remember. It's like the same drum pattern he did at that one point Ba da da la 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 ba doom ba doom ba ba da ba ba ba. It's the same thing. Although at this part of the song, I think there's an extra snare note with it. An interesting thing, real fast, I must do a quick digression, is you can hear, I don't know if it's bleeding through, or if it bleeds through like the tape, like if the track was so close to other stuff they used, or if they didn't quite wipe it off the take, or again, if it was if it just bled into the recording. When you know that the real like chunky, very Telecaster sounding guitar part that Jimmy played. I'm roasting with these on. Like that real sort of. An interesting thing for Zeppelin files, if you listen closely, you can hear that part occur all the way through that whole part. And as we grind on down the very, very faintly. And then they mix it in about halfway through. Listen to the tune, you'll hear it. Very faintly. Kind of like with Jim Morrison, Riders on the Storm. If you listen to Riders on the Storm, it goes, Riders on the Storm. You can actually hear it very faintly early before they bring it in. Used to happen back then. All right, so just practice that. You can just practice that in the loop. I mean, that puts it in sort of like a triplet feel, but it's the same thing, looped. All right, so that's what happens. So then we get toward the end of that last verse. So he goes. And God, that crash there in the recording is so giant beat. And I think that actually there, that last, because that fill kind of occurs 3 times. That type of fill occurs 3 times in the song. Right when he comes in, and then in the solo, and then at the end, see, now I'm all confused. I'm all Stairway to Heavenly in the brain. But I think at the end of the song again, he's hitting the 18-inch floor tom. Where's that ring? And then as we roll out of the song. That's the gist of the tune, okay? Again, that fill. Okay. Now, we're going to do a couple of things in the live version. Namely, I'm just going to put one thing in the live. I know there's a lot of stuff in the live version, but frankly speaking, there's a lot of stuff that Bonham does in the song remains the same live version. I'm not too big on. The older I get, I just don't like it. But I do think one of the coolest things in the whole world, one of the coolest Bonham fills of all time, which goes overlooked by many, is this drum fill he puts at the end of the middle of the live version of Stairway to Heaven, right before the solo. So, and Ba-da-da, 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 da, da. Alright, do you hear that? Ba. There's a turnaround in there. Again, one of his favorite licks. So, ba. Do it again. 1 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a ba, na, ba, 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 ba. Oh, that's, sorry, it's not too clean. Out of the way, wallet man. So God, it's hard for me to do to show you, but it's anyway. The time the time doesn't move at all. But the fill is so cool in a way that it almost feels like they add like an eighth note, like ba 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 da ba da ba boo ba boo ba ba. Like it just almost like kind of stumbles into. But I think it's one of the coolest fills ever. So it's in straight time. Again, I'm going to play it the way he did it. Okay, so. His hi-hats cranking away eighth notes there, but I'm trying to give you quarter notes. That's really hard to do, just playing quarter notes for me, because I've never played it that way. So let me see. Boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, 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 boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, 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 boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, boom. Make a song out of it. Boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, 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 boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, ba, boom, boom, ba, ba, boom, ba, 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 boom, ba, boom, ba, boom. Yeah, I'll make a song out of it. I'm trying 3 hours. 1 E and a 3 and a 3 and a 4. We can't forget about it. He puts that crash in there, son. I think he actually kind of has an extra note after that accent. Okay. So in that space between. I think he actually kind of taps another snare note. You can tell the difference there. But for now, just remember the basic thing. 1 E and 3 and 4 and 1. underrated Bonham fills of all time. Because especially where it is in the song, it's just so, like he's just almost hanging on for dear life, kind of. Like you think, if you're, like you think he's going to mess up or something. So. I think that's just beautiful. Anyway, so that's a quickie for Stairway to Heaven, because I think, there's just the key points in there. I hope it's, at some point I'd love to have like two folks, a guitar player and a bass player, to play along with it, so I can keep looping, like here's that part, here's that part. But it's a pain. You don't want to do it with the original drums, because the drums will be there, and no matter how much you mix in mine or the other guys, you always end up hearing, like you see guys do Fooling Around and stuff, along to the original recording, and all you hear is Bonham's drums. And then their drums are cranked up over the top, and you kind of can't really hear what's going on. Plus, too, the last hand is like Jimmy Page and his Dudesicles coming down looking for their share, So anyway, I hope this was helpful. And have a good Halloween. Well, I'll probably make another video before then, but see ya. Bye.